All right, I'm Nick. First thing in the morning, we are out in the garage. We have a Sportsman 120 PDL right here. We are going to go over the Anchor Wizard kit for this kayak. Now, it will work with the Sportsman 106 and 120 if you have this shallow water anchor pole right here. If you have a model that doesn't have that, then it won't work. Okay, we're going to use that to install the chute. I'm going to go over the kit, what comes with it, how to install it. And there's two different versions. One version exists for people who have installed seat risers up to 2 inches, and a version for people who have not installed seat risers, okay? So, two variations, a lot to unpack in the video. I'm gonna ramble. We're gonna try to go slow and make it happen, okay? So, if you buy the kit and you don't have seat risers installed, and your kayak is in the factory rigging, that's how we're gonna install it first. It comes with this hardware packet. It comes with a front adapter plate and a rear adapter plate. Now the rear goes to the power pole. This comes down here and is going to replace this rod holder, okay? So the crank will sit right here. You have plenty of room to move your seat back and forth, but we'll get into that in a second. This is the hardware packet for the version without the riser. Here it is unpacked and organized, short, longer, 4 washers, short and longer, nothing to it. Now, when you buy your Anchor Wizard kit, now I bought this one online. We were approved to become Anchor Wizard dealers. I already placed an order for a bunch of these and anchors. They told me that they'd get them out to us as soon as they could. I don't know what that means. So we don't have them on hand yet. Once we do, the Wizard will be available on the website as well. For now, we only have the kits available. Once you get this and you open it, this is how mine came. This is the chute. This is the crank, and there's a hardware packet in here, and then you get a parts list, okay? We're not gonna use any of this for this install, okay? Everything that you need will be included in this hardware packet. So the first thing we're gonna do, just because it's simple and easy, and this is the same step whether you buy the version with the riser or the version without the riser, okay? So this is for a kayak in the stock configuration that you have not raised your seat for. First things first, you're gonna take this, you're gonna take the 4 longer machine screws, you're gonna come back, we're just gonna use this. Now when you come back here originally, you're gonna have these black screws. There's gonna be 4 of them. I already removed some just so this would be quick and easy. This is gonna line up. Now it is actually pretty darn cold here right now, so things to consider. These holes, the plastic moves and changes shape, so they're not always perfect. So don't just tighten them down instantly. Get them all started before you tighten them down. Now I can assure you that when we obviously make a cover plate for back here and stuff like that. When we designed the cover plate, I used the power pole measurements and I used the rigid power pole mounting bracket to make sure that our holes are correct. This plastic is not always perfect. If yours doesn't line up perfectly, put it outside for the sun for a bit. Like you see, this one's kind of at a short, little small little angle, and that is why we didn't tighten all of them down. As you tighten it down, the plastic will move to this rigid plastic and you won't have any issues. These holes are countersunk, that way you can still mount anything on top of this. If you're gonna use power tools for this, which I normally use power tools for everything, make sure your torque is adjusted down or you will have problems. Okay, don't hawk out, don't go crazy. That's that. It's plenty strong. You pick up the whole kayak from there, not a big deal. The chute is gonna mount right here, and you're gonna be able to use this to mount a flag or anything you wanna mount. I'll grab that chute real quick, you stay right here. Now, you have the 2 shorter screws. You're gonna put this on here like this. Remember, this slides out. That's how your anchor drops in place. Now you can set this up however you prefer to set it up. Oops, move that. Now there are 2 holes. You can put it in this little slide. You have these little 2 slides in that. The goal here is you don't want, this has to be able to come down and fall, okay? You want it to be able to fall straight down like that. So you should be putting one in the first slot. They're kind of a pain in the butt to get started because you can't fit your finger right there. And same thing, this goes into threaded inserts. They'll go down, they snug up. Don't tighten them all the way down until you got both of them started. That part is done. Now this part right here, this step was the same for the 106, the 120, and the kit with and without the riser, okay? So once that's done, we'll come back up here. Now for this next step, the bottom of your anchored wizard comes off. Now this one's gonna come off easier because from the factory, there's actually tabs on there. And I took this thing off here so many times in the last 2 weeks designing it and working on this that I broke my tabs. Not important because you're gonna put screws in here, it actually holds it together, but yours is not gonna come off that easy. You're gonna have to push in that little hole on both sides to release it. The next thing, this silver Sharpie marks is because those are the holes I already drilled. I'm gonna drill different holes so you guys can see it. You're gonna take this plate and you guys are gonna see these 3 holes, right? Delete the silver holes so you have 2 holes top and bottom. You're just gonna lay this on here flat like this. You're gonna line up this front hole with right there. Remember the silver, those holes wouldn't be there. This plate would just be solid in that area. We're gonna add holes right here. What we're gonna do is you're gonna take some tape, just to make it easy for you. You're gonna need a 1/4 inch drill bit. And we're just gonna put some tape on here, however you can get to work for you. And it's smart just to tape both sides, okay? Because we're gonna flip this over. I like to use painter's tape for this stuff because it comes off, doesn't leave any kind of residue, right? Now that's lined up real good. You're gonna flip this over and you're gonna drill holes right through this. They're gonna come out right there and right there, okay? So have someone help you, put it on a flat surface. Remember, you got a cavity here, so once it punches through there, it's not gonna go into the table. Oh, I was worried about that, but I didn't think I would fail that bad. But it is what it is. Comes through there just like that. Clean it up, make it look pretty. Do the same thing over here. You should never do it on a towel, but it is what it is. Might as well show you guys the trials and errors, right? I didn't think I'd push it that far, but evidently I did. Okay, now you can just keep shoving that through there. Make sure you don't have any debris in there that will get in your way. And once that's done, you can discard your tape. Dude, my hands are so cold. It's pretty darn cold out here, okay? We had our first real cold day here in Northwest Florida. All right, you can discard that. And now what you can see is you have holes, okay? And you can clean all that up because you're gonna get some stuff pulled back in there. But you have perfectly drilled holes right here and right here. And we'll just, you don't need to do this. I'm just putting these arrows here. That way we know those are our new holes. because those shouldn't exist on yours, okay? That's because I already did this and I wanted you guys to see the whole process. Now, once that is done, we're getting places. All right, so we're gonna come back over here to this kayak. Now, we're gonna install it right here on this rod holder. Now, I already pulled these screws out, so you're just gonna take this out, save those 3 screws for this. We're not gonna use them for anything else. From here, remember you have 3 holes, okay? Obviously the front hole goes there. You're just gonna take your time, get all this stuff lined up, okay? Now remember, you have your 2 holes. These holes go in the back, and this one's your 3rd hole. So you're just gonna line this up front, like so. And you may need to have a little flashlight right here, your cell phone, to see better. And then you're gonna take the 3 longer screws you have left. You're gonna put them right here. Now you're temporarily gonna install this front one. You wanna just make sure that it goes into the existing hole, okay? And the only reason you're temporarily installing that front one is so you can get everything lined up without any questions. Don't need to tighten that down. Now, you shouldn't be pushing. You don't gotta push down. These things should catch themselves and just run themselves into place. Now there's a gasket on the bottom of this, so you'll feel it hit and compress. You don't need to freak out and over tighten them. This thing is not going anywhere. Same with that one, that's done. Now we're gonna take this back out. The next step involves bringing your chute down here. Now remember, if you have these tabs, it'll click in place. I've already tied this off so it won't go anywhere. This just slides in place like that. This one goes back in the front. That's why you temporarily installed it, so it lines up without any issues. That tightens down. You don't need to tighten it down too tight yet, because we're gonna come back up here real quick. Now I'm gonna switch over to my drill just because it's quicker. Now you have 4 screws and 4 washers left. We're just gonna prep these so it's good to go. And we added these washers for more surface area. We'll come down, and there are pre-drilled pilot holes in these locations. You'll see them. We'll just get that started a little bit in all 4 places. If the pilot hole isn't dead center, it does not matter. It will straighten itself out. Loosen that and get that out of the way. Okay, so once that's done, I'm gonna use a drill. Obviously, I'll lower the torque. Excuse me, these screws aren't gonna go through that plate, so they're never gonna touch the kayak. Now, once that's done, obviously, you'll be able to sit in the chair. You'll be able to use the crank as needed. If you're not familiar with this, when you go lefty-loosey, it releases the tension, which allows the weight of your rudder to pull that through the kayak, right? It pulls that. You keep going, the farther you go, the less amount of tension. When you crank back, the weight of the anchor creates tension. It locks that, and then it cranks it up, okay? Very, very simple system. Honestly, it's pretty nice. I like it. We had a lot of requests for this. So this is the version that works without the risers. If you stay right there, you'll see that the reason there's another version is it wouldn't work if you had the risers installed, okay? So this kit right here, which I'm gonna take this off and I'll install this, same exact process, just longer screws. It is going to raise this up another inch, which allows this to clear that, and you can use it. It will only work at the max of a 2-inch riser on the seat. But it's super simple. It works really, really well. We'll get some more on the water video of it as well down the road. But for now, I'm just going to quickly take this off and then install it with the riser from scratch, just so you guys can see that. 2-inch is the most common set of seat risers we sell, so we knew that we had to have the riser set. Let me get this off there and then we'll go do that. Okay, so everything else in the beginning of the video is the same, drilling the holes, all that stuff. Now, the only difference is this plate. Longer screws. I've already removed the hardware that comes with the hardware packet for the back. You don't need it, obviously, for this part. You got 4 screws that are shorter than those 3 screws, and it all lines up, right? This is just gonna line up in place. You just got to be a little more precise now because, well, it's taller. We're going to do the same thing with these 3 screws as we did with the shorter version. We're just going to get everything lined up. We're going to take the front one, put it in there, just get it started. Moved it. Yes, I moved it. I left my cell phone over there so it wouldn't make distractions. There it lines up. But having your cell phone as a little bit of a light can definitely help the situation. The 2 in the rear, just kidding. 2 where the arrows are. There's a lot of holes down here, so it should start with no issues, okay? Just like that, you shouldn't have to push down. You're using the existing holes. I definitely recommend for these 2 screws, just use your screwdriver. Those holes are already in the kayak, there's no reason to strip them out. If you do, not too big of a deal. We can resolve that issue too. Once again, remember there's a gasket on the bottom, so you feel it get tight and it kind of compresses a little bit. That's the goal. The gasket stops water from ever getting underneath here and then getting through that rod tube hole. Once you move the rod tube, you'll realize that there's a gasket on the bottom of it as well. Remember, this was just temporarily installed. We'll take our Anchor Wizard crank and put it back on here. As you guys can see, now it clears without any kind of issue, and that is the goal. Still no reason to be in a rush with this stuff. Just take your time. That thing should be lined up. That's why we temporarily install it, just to make sure everything is going smoothly. Now, the only difference in this whole thing is, realistically, is this riser, these longer screws. You're still going to put washers on here, and the riser itself has holes through it. But when you're going down, you just you can't see those pilot holes anymore. But you already know they're there because, well, you're going to look at it before you install it. I'm just gonna rope is in my way. Get out of my way. Take your time. You might need to help it a little bit by just twisting it down with your screwdriver. But everything will line up relatively easy. That one's already started. Make sure that started. Now, this plastic down here is extremely hard, okay? So put your torque down, 10, 12, every drill is a little bit different, so start lower, okay? See how that stopped right there? That's because it needs more torque. It'd rather be lower than higher, okay? That takes it down. Stop short again. No big deal. Okay, now the goal with that is as soon as these washers aren't moving, it's plenty tight, okay? That's on there fantastically. It doesn't hit with the 2-inch risers. Remember, that's all it's designed for. If you raise it more than 2 inches, I do not recommend continuing to build a tower right here, okay? 2 inches the most common risers. That's the install. You loosen that, slide this back to your chute, attach it to your anchor, and you're good to go. We will have anchor options on the website as well in the future. If you guys have questions about this install before you start drilling holes or doing anything crazy, just give me a call or shoot me an email. We are always available to help, and if not, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. I think that's it. I'm sure I missed something. We do have a bow mount in works for it for the front of the kayak, and this will mount on the gear track, and we'll get to all that stuff in the future, okay? If I did miss anything, just leave a comment below and we'll get it squared away. Thanks for watching.